I want to ask you about the Epstein files. Have you seen the Epstein files?
I have not reviewed the entirety of it myself, but a good amount.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Epstein trafficked young women, including, in some instances, minors?
In a tense moment on Capitol Hill, Senator John Kennedy put FBI Director Kash Patel directly on the spot, demanding he reveal the powerful clients tied to Jeffrey Epstein and the trafficking network surrounding him. And the atmosphere quickly turned charged as Kennedy zeroed in on what many see as serious gaps in how the case was handled, using those missing pieces as leverage to question the FBI's transparency. While his tone made it clear he was not backing down, pushing Patel to address growing concerns that the Bureau has not only kept critical details hidden, but may also be struggling with internal bias and political pressure, influencing how major investigations are conducted.
Himself.
That was specifically the allegations in the 2018 indictment in the Southern District of New York.
Okay. Who else did he traffic these young women to?
In terms of what the investigation, again, going back to 2008, Mr. Acosta, who limited the investigation and limited the search warrants and limited the parameters of the investigation, the only thing we are able to speak to publicly, because he was given a non-prosecution agreement by Mr. Acosta, is that first time period from, I believe, don't quote me on this, 97 to 2001-ish. And then when the Trump administration courageously reopened it.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I'm going to run out of time. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
When you took over the FBI, did you find instances of where the Biden administration had politicized the FBI to prosecute its political agenda?
Well, I won't speak for other people. Having been a target of that weaponization, having been a staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, having had the Justice Department weaponized against me for making the findings and leading the investigation of Russiagate, I know what that feels like. And that's why, as the FBI director, I'm committed to not ever have that ever happen again. But I'm also committed to fully investigating what was done, and that matter is still ongoing.
So I assume, I take it your answer is yes.
Yes, sir.
And you're firing those people, is that right?
Anyone that politicizes their job at the FBI will not work at the FBI.
Okay. You've heard some of my colleagues either implicitly or otherwise suggest that you have politicized the FBI to prosecute the political beliefs of President Trump. Is that true?
I don't know how that can be true when the stats that I cited, to include the 23,000 arrests, 6,000 weapons seized, 1,600 gang and criminal enterprise organizations, 4,700 children found and rescued, more enough fentanyl seized to kill a third of America. The men and women of the FBI are now on an apolitical mission, and this is why the numbers are historic in 7
Have you
months.
fired people because they voted for Vice President Harris?
I don't ask people who they vote for, and neither does the FBI.
Okay. But you've given people polygraphs, have you not?
Many people in the FBI take polys.
The FBI does that all the time.
Yes, sir.
Does it not?
Yes,
For
sir.
a long time, is that correct?
Decades.
All right. I want to ask you about the Epstein files. Have you seen the Epstein files?
I have not reviewed the entirety of it myself, but a good amount.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Epstein trafficked young women, including, in some instances, minors, for sex to himself?
That was specifically the allegations in the 2018 indictment in the Southern District of New York.
Okay. Who else did he traffic these young women to?
In terms of what the investigation, again, going back to 2008, Mr. Acosta, who limited the investigation and limited the search warrants and limited the parameters of the investigation. The only thing we are able to speak to publicly, because he was given a non-prosecution agreement by Mr. Acosta, is that first time period from, I believe, don't quote me on this, 97 to 2001-ish. And then when the Trump administration courageously reopened it.
Ash, excuse me for interrupting, but I'm going to run out of time. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one
For the information that we have
in the files?
in the case file.
Okay. Now, President Trump has deferred to the FBI and the Department of Justice with respect to the Epstein records. He says it is your call about releasing them. And I understand that the department and the agency have decided to release them in cooperation with the House committee. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you're releasing them a little bit at a time. Is that correct?
We're releasing as much as we can, but we are limited by 3 different court orders, and the department went back to each of those judges to waive those court orders or have them lifted, and each of those judges declined.
Will you release all of them, or at least as many as you can?
We will release everything we are legally permitted to do so. We are continuing to work with the House on the subpoena request. We have substantially complied with it, but we will continue to release whatever we are legally permitted to do so.
Okay. I strongly encourage you to do that. Kash, this issue's not going to go away. And I think the central question for the American people is this. They know that Epstein trafficked young women for sex to himself. They want to know who, if anyone else, he trafficked these young women to. And that's a very fair question. I want to know that answer. And I think you're going to have to do more to satisfy the American people's understandable curiosity in that regard.
Mr. Chairman, may I just respond to that? I agree, Senator. And what we have done, and just to remind folks, the Epstein case files existed in the 2 prior administrations, in the Obama administration and the Biden administration, and they didn't release anything. And there was President Trump in the first administration that renewed charges against Mr. Epstein. And I know it's a little complicated to understand, but what exists in the Epstein case files was a direct result of the limited search warrants from 2006 and 7, which hamstrung future investigations because of the non-prosecution agreement. And multiple administrations had the opportunity to look at the entirety of that case file and recommend prosecutions against anyone that was trafficked under Mr. Epstein and anyone that participated in that trafficking. And the only person to bring charges was the prior administration against Mr. Epstein. Now, I am not saying that others were not trafficked and others were not involved. What I am telling you is that based on the information we have, and we have continuously and publicly asked for the public to come forward with more information. If there is, we'll look at it. But based on credible information, we have released all credible information, and the information that the Department of Justice and the FBI never releases is information on investigations that are not credible. And we don't release the names of victims who weren't credible, but in the same time, we don't release the names of victims who were credible. And so that's by law. And so the information we are releasing now is historic, and it is also to the maximum capacity that the law allows. And I know that's not going to satisfy many, many, many people, but if they wanted it done right, then the investigation from its origination should have been done right, and he should not have been given a get-out-of-jail-free card to do jail on the weekends for 12 hours a day, and he should have been investigated fully for the entirety of his crime and criminal enterprise, not just from 1997 to 2001.
In a hard-hitting session that felt more like a pressure test than a routine hearing, Senator John Kennedy kept pushing FBI Director Kash Patel into a corner, repeatedly pressing him to reveal who, besides Jeffrey Epstein, may have played a role in the organized exploitation of young women, and while the questioning came in waves, Patel stood firm, defending the Bureau's credibility and stressing that the FBI functions without political bias, making it clear that any agent found abusing their authority would be removed without hesitation. Yet he strongly pushed back against claims that investigations are driven by someone's political beliefs or voting history. But the tone of the hearing shifted sharply when Patel tried to shut down years of speculation by stating that, based on available intelligence, Epstein's disturbing operation appeared to be centered mainly around his own personal motives, rather than serving a wider network of powerful elites. A statement that directly challenged what many people have long suspected, and even as Kennedy's sharp and persistent questioning kept the pressure high. Patel did concede a key point by promising to release every document that can legally be made public, although he quickly clarified that strict legal limitations, including court orders, still apply. And in an effort to rebuild confidence in the Bureau's actions, he argued that the FBI has already disclosed all credible findings, holding back only what is required to protect victims' identities and to avoid spreading unverified or damaging claims. Yet he also admitted a difficult reality that cannot be ignored. That if the initial investigation had been more aggressive and thorough from the very beginning, the deep level of public distrust surrounding this case might not be as strong as it is today.
The same guy that said on day one, I was going to shut down the J. Edgar Hoover building and do all this nonsense. And now it's saying in the near future. I don't believe it.
Well,
all right? Don't
because
make
let me tell you
promises.
something.
Don't make promises, Adam, because it's for a fact. Leave the victims out. I don't want to hear one victim's name. If you're looking at footage with your eyes of grown men raping young underage women, arrest them. Go get them. How do you know that they're not still doing it right now? Because, by the way, Epstein's Island was closed, Tom. Those guys, pedophiles, that urge doesn't take a vacation. They're still out there doing it. Okay? They're making more victims while they're going to, in the near future, we're going to slow walk it. That's horseshit. Sorry for my language.
Can I tell you what happened? Listen, as I always say.
Wait.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Rob, do you have that clip?
Yes.
Drives
Okay.
me nuts. I'm
You have
sorry
it
for
right there,
cussing.
by the way. You have it right,
Right here?
there. Yeah. I think that's the one. Can you play that?
Declassification office, whatever you want to call it. Transparency, truth, whatever, I don't care. Sits in the White House, reports directly to you, and you take incoming from the United States of America. I want JFK. I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. All the FBI, and this is a tool, this is something we didn't cover. What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption is an illegal application of the classification system. Remember the Lovebirds text from, this is a beauty, the Lovebirds text from FBI,
Is this
DOJ
about on
land,
day
Russiagate,
one?
Strzok and Page were texting
Yes, I believe he says it somewhere in this clip. It's just a 2-minute and 21
Keep it
second
going.
clip.
each other, who they were running the Russiagate investigation against Trump. They were the head of the counterintelligence unit at the FBI. And they're having an extramarital affair together. Can't make this stuff up. They're sending each other texts about how much they hate Trump and are going to create an insurance policy
Fast forward a little
to
bit,
stop
man.
Trunk. Then we finally find those.
Test 10 seconds.
But it gets even better.
Keep
Here's
going.
the deep state full circle. Just last week,
Fast forward.
iPhones. And the DOJ just rewarded them.
Fast forward.
Deputy Director of National Intelligence. And the world has now seen them and they can read them. And that's the best form of transparency. That's why I want this 24/7 declassification office. Don't have me regurgitate it to you. Read it. Get the documents, get the files, get the memos. But the deep state came full circle and gave these guys a payday for rigging a presidential election and breaking the law.
No, this isn't it, Rob. There's one that he says on
Day one, I'm going to shut down the Hoover building, right? And turn it into a museum.
See if this is the one that you have in text. See if that's the one or it's the same exact one as the other one. Is that the same
I
exact?
think that's the same one.
Yeah, but there was a.
And which one was it? That he's going to shut down the Hoover building back?
Yeah.
I remember that. And all of them gave us these
Is that the one?
promises, and it's not being kept. And it drives me freaking bananas.
Well, Adam, what are we going to say? And then he's going to look for it.
Well, look, as I always say, you have to campaign in poetry and govern in prose.
Yeah.
Now, what does that actually mean in this regard? When you're vying for a job, whether it's President of the United States, whether it's the head of the FBI, whether that's any sort of political task that you're looking to do, you're going to say things that are going to trigger people's emotions. You're going to rile people up. You're going to, sell them the dream. You're going to maybe even sell them the nightmare. You're going to make promises that maybe you can't keep sometimes. Because sometimes when you actually get the job, you actually have to govern, or you actually have to go through the practical execution of the job, or reality slaps you in the face. So in my opinion, I know nothing about what's going on here. Kash has all these things. When I get there, we're going to shut down the FBI. Jagger, this is what I'm going to do. And then he gets the job and he sits at the desk and they go, do you want to know what's really going on, buddy? Because you've never sat in this seat. And he has his people that he trusts. And he goes, okay, yeah. Well, here's what's going on. And he's going to say,
this is a montage of him saying day one.
Play this.
and he's going to say this. Can I finish this? He's going to say, holy crap. I had no idea that was what's going on. Turns out maybe I shouldn't say what I thought I was going to
Well,
say.
then, if your price
and
is
that's
in your
what's
life,
happening.
then you're for sale. Because guess what? I don't give a shit, Adam.
Well,
and
that's-
rape and no.
I'm just saying that's easy for you to say.
No, it's not easy
but
for me
when
to say, because I'm not gonna
when
talk about it and not
the
be
Wizard
about
of
it.
Oz, when you go behind that curtain
Yeah.
and you're like, damn.
I don't care.
And someone says,
No.
hold on. If you
Play
say
the
this,
clip, Rob.
Yeah, no, Adam. When it
Play
comes
the
to
clip,
kids, I
Rob.
don't play that shit.
this is more than just kids. Though.
Play the clip, Rob.
Well, the Epstein Black Book, like on day one. On day one, roll out the Black Book.
Where is it?
So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past.